From the world of entertainment, we have received word that music legend Ozzy.
In a seismic blow to the music world, John Michael Ozzy Osbourne, the inimitable frontman of Black Sabbath and one of rock's most enduring icons, has passed away at the age of 76. The announcement, confirmed by his family early this morning, comes less than 3 weeks after Osbourne's triumphant final performance, Back to the Beginning, in his hometown of Birmingham. While no specific cause of death has been released, Ozzy's long battle with Parkinson's disease and a litany of health challenges have been well documented over the past decade. Today, the world mourns the Prince of Darkness, a cultural force who reshaped heavy metal and influenced generations of artists. A family statement, privacy amid grief. Shortly after news of his passing broke, the Osbourne family issued a heartfelt statement to Rock Faye and other outlets. It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family's privacy at this time. And these brief yet poignant lines underscore the deeply personal nature of Ozzy's final moments, away from prying eyes, cradled in the comfort of those he cherished most. Despite his global fame and decades in the public eye, Ozzy's family insists on holding fast to these private hours, honoring the man who once sought refuge and anonymity within his closest circle. Origins of the Loud, the birth of Black Sabbath. By 1968, Birmingham's music scene was ripe for transformation. Ozzy answered an advert placed by guitarist Tony Iommi seeking a frontman for his fledgling band, then called Earth. Alongside bassist Geezer Butler and drummer Bill Ward, the quartet began rehearsing in an old church hall, using homemade amplifiers and battered guitars. The name change to Black Sabbath, borrowed from a low-budget horror movie, signaled their intent to conjure a darker, heavier sound than the psychedelic pop dominating Britain's airwaves. Their self-titled debut album, released in February 1970, sounded like nothing else. Tony's down-tuned, ominous riffs rumbled like distant thunder, Geezer's bass lines prowled in minor keys, and Bill's tom-heavy drumming evoked a gathering storm. Over it all, Ozzy's voice, alternately plaintive and menacing, wove tales of war, corruption, and supernatural dread. The follow-up, Paranoid, arrived that September, launching Iron Man, War Pigs, and Paranoid into the lexicon of rock history. Touring relentlessly, Sabbath transformed dingy British clubs into raucous rites of passage. Their 1971 U.S. tour saw them crisscrossing the continent in a grubby tour van, often sleeping in parking lots and subsisting on fast food. Yet by 1973's Volume 4, the band were selling out arenas once reserved for classic rock kings like Led Zeppelin and The Who. Ozzy himself became a spectacle. His wild stage dives, frenetic energy, and trademark on-stage banter blurred the line between performer and high priest of a metallic new faith. The Fall and the Phoenix, solo reinvention. By the late 1970s, the relentless touring, drugs, and infighting had driven Sabbath to the brink. In 1979, the band made the wrenching decision to part ways with their founding vocalist. For many, Ozzy's career appeared over. Yet with the unwavering support of Sharon Arden, whom he met during a U.S. tour in 1979 and married in 1982, Ozzy found the impetus to rise again. Under Sharon's management, Ozzy assembled a new lineup featuring guitar prodigy Randy Rhoads. Their 1980 debut, Blizzard of Oz, combined Rhodes's neoclassical solos with Ozzy's candid lyrics on mental health, faith, and existential dread. The singles, Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, exploded onto radio, and the album went 5 times platinum. Rhodes's tragic death in a 1982 plane crash stunned Ozzy, who channeled his grief into the haunting ballad, Diary of a Madman. Through the 1980s and 90s, Ozzy collaborated with guitar heroes like Jake E. Lee and Zakk Wylde, each adding fresh textures to albums such as No Rest for the Wicked, 1988, and No More Tears, 1991. His solo career spanned operatic ballads, blues-infused stompers, and orchestral collaborations, proving that his creativity could adapt to shifting musical landscapes. Infamous rock lore, The Doves, The Bat, and The Making of Myth. Ozzy's penchant for the theatrical fueled some of rock's most enduring legends. In 1981, during a record label showcase, Sharon released 2 white doves on stage as a PR gesture. Ozzy famously bit their heads off, later claiming he thought they were rubber props. The following year, in Des Moines, Iowa, Ozzy mistook a live bat for a prop and bit into it, igniting a media frenzy that vaulted him from eccentric rocker to cultural phenomenon. These episodes epitomized Ozzy's unfiltered, unpredictable nature. He rarely shied from the headline grabbing or the outrageous, whether sneaking a live snake on stage during a Japanese TV appearance or famously collapsing objects mid-song for dramatic effect. Yet beneath the sensationalism lay a performer who understood the power of spectacle. By courting controversy, he magnified the emotional impact of his music and deepened the bond with an audience hungry for raw authenticity. The Osbournes, rock god meets reality TV. In 2002, MTV shattered the polished rock star image with The Osbournes, a reality series that chronicled Sharon, Ozzy, and their children, Kelly, Jack, and Amy, in the everyday chaos of their Beverly Hills home. Ozzy's genteel confusion over child-proof cabinets, his bemused commentary on bill paying, and his obsession with wildlife documentaries revealed a side of the Prince of Darkness no one had seen, a doting, bewildered TV dad. The show became a cultural juggernaut, winning an Emmy in 2002 and attracting over 20 million viewers per episode at its peak. Far from diluting his mystique, the series humanized Ozzy. Audiences saw him stub his toe and curse, quiz his kids on algebra, and celebrate their milestones with unabashed pride. The Osbournes redefined celebrity, proving that authenticity, warts and all, could be as compelling as on-stage bravado. Physical and mental battles, ATV, falls, and Parkinson's. Despite his larger-than-life persona, Ozzy's real-life struggles were profound. In March 2003, he nearly died in a quad bike accident on his Tennessee estate, fracturing his neck, back, and ribs. Sharon later revealed he'd flatlined for over a minute before medics revived him. After a year of surgeries and rehabilitation, Ozzy returned to touring, his resilience becoming part of his legend. But as he aged, new challenges emerged. A 2019 fall aggravated his old injuries, prompting 3 more operations and sidelining him for months. The cumulative toll of decades on the road, and the frustration of physical limitations, plunged him into depression. In a candid May 2025 interview with The Guardian, Ozzy described waking each day to new ailments, likening his life to living in Doomtown. It was Sharon's idea to conceive one final farewell concert, a project that gave him renewed purpose and a reason to face each morning. Back to the beginning, a triumphant final bow. On July 5, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne mounted the stage at Birmingham's V Park Soccer Stadium atop a custom hydraulic throne designed to accommodate his Parkinson's tremors and joint pain. Beside him stood the original Black Sabbath lineup, Tony Iommi on guitar, Geezer Butler on bass, and Bill Ward on drums, reunited for the first time in 2 decades. Opening with the brooding riff of Black Sabbath, Ozzy's voice rang out with surprising power. As he transitioned into Iron Man, the stadium erupted, hundreds of thousands of mobile phone lights flickering like embers against the night. During Paranoid, the chorus, I Tell You to Enjoy Life, transformed into a defiant anthem against mortality. His final exhortation, Go Crazy One Last Time, was met with a roar so thunderous it seemed to awaken Birmingham's industrial ghosts. In between songs, Ozzy's characteristic humor surfaced. He quipped about forgetting the lyrics to War Pigs, eliciting laughter and chants from the audience. The concert was more than a setlist, it was a ritual passage, a communal exhale after years of collective anxiety, proof that music's power lies in its capacity to unite, to heal, and to celebrate life against all odds. A moment of joy, the backstage proposal. Moments before the final curtain, backstage cameras captured a tender family vignette. Sid Wilson of Slipknot knelt before Kelly Osbourne and produced a ring, asking for her hand in marriage. Through tears of joy, Kelly said, yes, as Ozzy looked on with pride and a glint of mischief in his eye. That spontaneous proposal, occurring in the shadows of rock's grandest farewell. underscored a fundamental truth about Ozzy's life: even amid health struggles and career climaxes, family milestones remained at the heart of his story. Legacy in metal, the reverberations of a trailblazer. Ozzy's influence on heavy music is immeasurable. Thrash metal pioneers like Metallica and Slayer studied Sabbath's chugging riffs in their formative years. Grunge icons Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder cited Ozzy's melancholic delivery as inspiration. Today's generation of metal and hard rock bands, from Gojira to Spiritbox, trace lineage to the primal power Ozzy unleashed in the early 70s. Record labels swiftly announced deluxe reissues of Blizzard of Oz and No More Tears, complete with remastered tracks, live bootlegs from the 80s, and previously unseen studio footage. Tribute concerts, such as Doro Pesha's Princess of Darkness series, will feature female-fronted acts covering Sabbath classics, with proceeds benefiting Parkinson's research. Even non-metal artists paid homage. Rapper Post Malone shared a tearful video recalling Ozzy's impact on his musical identity. Philanthropy and personal courage. While Ozzy's music explored darkness, his actions often illuminated hope. The Osbourne Foundation, quietly funded by Ozzy and Sharon, supported children's hospitals, veteran mental health programs, and neurological research. Benefit concerts under the banner "Speak of the Devil for a Cure" raised millions for Parkinson's studies. Ozzy's decision to go public with his Parkinson's diagnosis in 2020, posting tremor-laced videos and urging donations, transformed personal struggle into collective action. Fans, medical professionals, and fellow artists rallied, driving record donations and advancing research. In his final years, Ozzy demonstrated that vulnerability, when shared, becomes a powerful catalyst for empathy and change. The proposal, Love Amid Rock Glory. Backstage at the legendary Back to the Beginning concert, emotion coursed through the air almost as palpably as the sweat and excitement of 40,000 fans outside. Amid the chaos of roadies striking cables and the distant echo of amplifiers powering down, Slipknot DJ Sid Wilson stepped forward, slipping off a black studded glove to reveal a gleaming ring. Ozzy Osbourne, perched on his hydraulic throne just moments before, watched with a mixture of surprise and pride as Sid dropped to one knee before Kelly Osbourne. "Kelly," he began, voice slightly shaky yet resolute, "will you spend the rest of your life in front of your family, with me?" The question, blending endearing awkwardness with genuine devotion, seemed to suspend time. Kelly, caught between tears of joy and laughter, nodded through her sobs before whispering, "Yes," her voice crackling with emotion. Ozzy's eyes, moist with unshed tears, betrayed his happiness. In that moment, the Prince of Darkness was simply a father beaming with pride, witnessing the woman who'd grown from a spirited child on the Osbournes into a confident bride-to-be. Sharon, standing nearby, embraced her daughter, pride etched in every line of her face. The cameras rolled, capturing every tear and smile, broadcasting the intimate scene to a world that had come to associate Ozzy with spectacle. Yet here was something more profound, proof that even in rock's most thunderous moments, the quiet triumphs of the heart endure. This proposal, set against the backdrop of Ozzy's swan song, reminded everyone that life's sweetest notes often play in the spaces between the noise. Amid health struggles, career highs and lows, and a final farewell tour, the Osbourne family's bonds remained their greatest legacy, anchoring them through 4 decades of love, loss, and unbreakable devotion. The human connection, fans and the Prince of Darkness. Perhaps Ozzy's greatest legacy lies not in record sales or platinum plaques, but in the emotional bond he forged with his audience. From the teenager who learned Crazy Train riffs in their bedroom to the retiree who found solace in Mama, I'm Coming Home, Ozzy's music served as a lifeline for countless listeners. His frank discussions of mental health and his late-life openness about Parkinson's disease destigmatized private struggles, creating a community of fans united by shared resilience. Within hours of his death, candlelit vigils lit up city squares from Sao Paulo to Seoul. Muralists in Birmingham painted new murals along the streets where Ozzy once walked. TikTok creators posted heartfelt covers, Reddit threads hosted round-the-clock listening sessions, and streaming services registered record spikes in Sabbath and solo streams. The global outpouring underscored a universal truth: Ozzy's roar belonged not only to arenas, but to every heart that ever sought courage in darkness. A final curtain, an eternal echo. On that warm July night in Birmingham, Ozzy Osbourne took his final bow. As strobe lights faded and amplifiers powered down, he left the stage one last time, but his voice remains resonant. In every power chord that reverberates through a speaker, every whispered lyric carried on a breeze, and every aspiring musician picking up a guitar in search of their own voice, Ozzy's spirit endures. Today is a day of sorrow, a day the music world will long remember. Yet within the grief, there is profound gratitude, for a life lived fiercely, for the thunderous anthems that became the soundtrack to defiance and hope, and for a man who taught us to embrace our shadows as much as our light. Rest peacefully, Ozzy Osbourne. Your legacy is immortal. Your echoes will thunder on,